Good afternoon. My name is Lola Coppage, and I will present the grant proposal for Learn Inc. Learn Inc. is a community-based nonprofit that has been in existence since 1966 in Lubbock, Texas. Learn Inc. receives funding from the Department of Education and has received this funding since 1969. The grant that funds Learn Inc. is a federal talent search grant, which is a part of the TRIO programs grant that was created in 1965 by President Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson understood that students and parents could transition from poverty to self-sufficiency with access to education, and specifically equal access to education. Learn Inc. is also a 501c3 exempt organization. Advisors at Learn Inc. currently serve 7 counties: Dawson, Floyd, Hockley, Hale, Lamb, Lubbock, and Terry counties, and annually 1,200 students are served in those counties. The need that we are trying to address as an agency is the fact that the need for higher education is ever increasing, and in the South Plains area and in Texas there's a shortage of qualified workers, and that is workers who have licensures, associate's degrees, and bachelor's degrees. Companies and industries look at a community's post-secondary education statistics to determine if that would be a good place to bring in a business or industry. So in this area we want to increase those numbers to attract employers and to keep individuals in this area working. Statistics in Texas show that 25% of adults ages 25 to 34 hold an associate's degree or higher. And that's pretty consistent with what it shows nationwide. Just like I said, if we can increase that number, we just become more attractive to industries wanting to move to this area. Problem implications if we do not address this need is, whenever there are families or individuals who lack education, those children, they may not perform well in school. They don't have access, or they don't have the equipment or materials needed for success. So those students may migrate to juvenile delinquency because they are not doing well in school, and they are not attached to their school and committed to their school. That's what lack of access to education can contribute to. In the state of Texas, 80% of incarcerated individuals do not hold a high school diploma. So we can see that there's a connection between lack of secondary success and delinquency. If we do address this issue, then access to education could open doors to sufficiency and close that revolving door to welfare assistance. Strategies for accomplishing this goal. Learn has worked in a collaborative efforts with the school districts. Advisors are sent to the schools. They have offices there, and that is where they meet with students. They counsel them on their academic planning, provide workshops to families, and even offer opportunities for scholarships, opportunities for tutoring, and give the students access to activities on a college campus. One in particular is a student leadership conference, in which we take many of our students to, that teaches them essay writing tips, public speaking tips, and just things that will help them advance in college. So our strategies will be to continue the collaborative efforts with our school districts, human services offices, and PTA organizations and community organizations. Goals of our program, we have 4 of them. The first is to provide resources and information about colleges and financial aid to students. Our next goal is to provide opportunities for academic growth, which would be access to standardized testing boot camps, college activities, leadership conferences, and even scholarship competitions. Third is to inform students of all their post-secondary options. Not every student is a 4-year college student, so we want to introduce them to certificate programs and associate degree programs as well. And fourth, we want to provide sufficient academic advisement and career advisement to students. We want them to know the options, own their choices, and to really understand fully what each career can offer in the future. The way that we can evaluate the success of Learn Inc. and its advisors, there are actually 4 ways that we will use. The first is to evaluate monthly reports that are submitted by advisors. These reports will actually indicate the number of participants served, types of services, and this is also where the advisor will provide proof of verification of eligibility for the individual. The second way that we will evaluate is to actually look at, we will collect roll sheets at our events, our workshops, that will keep up with attendance numbers so that we can see if we're reaching those. Are we reaching the people that we need to reach, and are we having successful events? Third, we will verify college enrollment through a national clearinghouse system that will actually provide Learn Inc. with a list of our participants and let us know if those students are enrolled in a post-secondary option after high school. And finally, we're also going to use that to verify financial aid. It will make us aware of merit scholarships that are based on academics and ACT and SAT scores. There are currently 10 employees at Learn Inc., an executive director, associate director, 5 advisors, an administrator, tutor, and a receptionist. So 10 employees will be sufficient and for the program and any new programming that we have. We have been a pillar in the Lubbock community with 10 employees and have been successful in our endeavors. The funding that Learn Inc. will need is $20,000. We currently have $500,000 that has been provided by the Department of Education, and it has been sufficient. The new need that we are addressing is the lack of access to the ACT and SAT boot camps, which those fees and fees for those materials equal $20,000. We are not in a refunding year, so we have to solicit those funds on our own, and that's why we are coming to the South Plains Foundation. You would help us tremendously address a disparity in test scores among economically disadvantaged students as opposed to their higher income counterparts. Learn just wants to offer equal access to this tool that is helping to increase test scores in the area. So once again, it's just because it's a new need, and we want to address the disparity. So we're asking and requesting the South Plains Foundation for their assistance. We want to partner with you guys. We know that you want to advance education efforts in the South Plains, and so do we. And we're just asking you to help us bridge this gap that we have that is keeping our economically disadvantaged children from self-sufficiency. And I thank you so much for your time and just ask you to please consider our grant proposal. Thank you.